Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi everybody, I'm Ron Brewington and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Brought to you by Photography is an Art, Harvey Brandman, master photographer, located at 1307 North San Fernando Boulevard in Burbank, California. And attorney Ron Irwin's publication, 5150, The Book. It's the story of a young Irwin serving 13 months in South Vietnam as a Marine. And author Larry Buford's book to the future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, now available in paperback for only $17.95. And from our newest sponsor, State Farm agent Carla Green, who says, and like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Well, I met today's guest a little over a week ago as we served in a play called Unseen. The play was part of the 5th annual Leimert Park Festival of Stage Readings. He came on, he was the actor. I came on as the narrator. We both had a great time. Coincidentally, the guest who was scheduled called me at the last minute telling me he had to cancel. So I asked our guest today if he would be a guest in the other person's place. And without even thinking about it, he said yes. But before we meet our guest, let's take a look at one of his clips. Roll it, Tony.
When you get older, you're going to realize that the saddest moments in your life are not, they're not going to be these like epic, dramatic, blowout fights like you see in the movies. They're going to be through moments like this. Moments where you kind of look around and look at how tiny and small and pathetic your life is. I mean, this is it. This is everything that I got. You know, life happens. And now I got this table, and I got these glasses, and I have a bed. And every morning I get up and I put on my very nice suits, and then I go to work, and then, you know, I just pretend to be happy.
Well, that was the movie Sam and Paul, and he was one of the stars there. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome actor, writer, producer, stuntman, and a few other jobs, Peter Berube. Peter, thank you so much for stopping by, my friend. Stopping by. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long have you been an actor?
Oh my God. I mean, I guess I want to say all my life.
Okay.
It was one of those things. I know a lot of people have that moment where they're like, oh, this is when I realized I wanted to do it.
Okay.
I had sort of an experience where I always knew I wanted to be an actor even before I started doing it.
Okay.
You know, I was hosting a talent show in 4th grade. I had a very sparkly blue vest that my grandmother made me, and even when I wasn't ready to sort of like start formally acting, like I was like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be working in the arts, and I guess I officially started like really doing it in high school.
Okay.
Started doing plays there. I started writing my own stuff. I wrote a feature film with my best friends when Palm Pilots came out. Like we were able to type on these devices, and like we wrote a feature film that way. And yeah, I haven't stopped.
Wow.
It's been my entire life.
Before I forget, well, where are you from originally?
I'm from Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's the insurance capital of the world.
That's right, it is.
Yeah.
Right.
It's super exciting. But yeah, I was born in Bristol, raised in Enfield, sort of like hopped all over.
Wow.
But I love Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like Los Angeles is my home.
Yeah. The city of angels.
I don't know if that's true. I would never describe any part of the population of Los Angeles as being angels.
Got you.
Maybe at some point that was true.
Just out of curiosity, when you're coming into LAX and you're just about to land and the wheels touch down, do you get up and scream and say, LA?
Man, I will tell you, I knew I wanted to live in LA. There was like, just like being an actor, I knew LA was going to be my thing. And there was this moment that I was in college that I was having this very tumultuous time, and I needed to figure some life stuff out. So I decided, like in between my college classes, I'm like, you know, I've always wanted to live in LA. I've never seen LA. So I hopped online. I bought myself a plane ticket. I had a friend drive me to the airport,
Right.
and I took an overnight flight. It was like 12 hours. I had like 3 different stops. I came to LA for 12 hours because I had to like be back in town for a rehearsal in like a day and a half. And, you know, I got off the plane and I was like, I love this place, and I went and I found a bus to Venice Beach, and I sat on this little hill, and I was like, yeah, this is my home.
Yeah.
And you know, I've lived in New York and done a lot of work there, and I can't stand living in New York because I love LA so much.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we got a lot of New Yorkers here,
Oh yeah.
including me.
I know, we've talked about it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like I love New Yorkers. I love New York people. Like living in New York City itself is such a grind that it just doesn't vibe with me.
Yeah.
I like being outside all the time. I'm such like an outdoor person.
Yeah.
And I grew up on the East Coast, but like now that I've been spoiled being in Los Angeles, it's the fact that I get to be outside year round. There's nothing better than that to me. I love, you know, I go for walks. That's sort of like my therapy. Yes, you walk a lot in New York, but the problem is like when you're walking in New York and it's snowing out or it's like raining or like it's so humid that you're just pouring sweat. Like it's a different experience than having like a relaxing stroll around palm trees.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you notice here in LA, they're trying to make a lot of the things like New York City, like the rent on houses.
Oh my God.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will tell you,
Yes.
shopping around in New York with the prices right now, and also like when they with their prices, they're like, oh well, this is going to be $3,000 a month for this room that's the size of a full-size bed. It's hard to get excited about that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I have
really
a
is.
phenomenal apartment.
Okay.
It's big, it's open, it is my like creative sanctuary, and and I can afford it.
Okay.
So.
You mentioned college. Can you talk about the training that you had in this field?
Yeah. I went to Central Connecticut State University,
Okay.
and it is really this absolute gem that I don't think anybody knows about. I talked to a lot of friends that have like gone to like NYU and gone to sort of like another Yale University. You know, a lot of places that have sort of these big, you know. I don't know what to call it. Like their reputations for like being these big theater schools. And when I talk with them, I'm like, they didn't get half of the training that I got. Like I was trained in, I had like 4 years of voice and speech and improv and stage combat, and I learned like Uta Hagen technique. Every week we had a different guest artist that was coming in with a new style.
Yeah.
And when I look back at my experience, like I covered the gamut. You know, like I studied Shakespeare. I studied all kinds of different other varieties of like classical performing. And when I would talk to my friends that went to some of these other schools, they're like, yeah, we studied acting. I'm like, well, sure, yeah. I mean, I did too. But like, did you pick up on any of these techniques? Or were you doing any things? They're like, no, I've never done any of that stuff. And I was like, wow, that's really surprising.
You're not talking about one of my favorite schools, are you? Like, it's called USC.
I don't know about the theater program in USC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they got beautiful equipment over there.
Oh, they do, but that's the thing is like they have,
George
a lot of
Lucas.
these schools have a lot of really wonderful materials, but
Yeah.
I got to create my own educational program.
Gotcha.
I've got to work really closely with my professors. I was averaging about 15 shows a semester. And the thing about that is, you know, taking the classes is one thing when you're prepping like a monologue or a scene. It's a totally different thing when you have to prepare a role.
Right.
And you have to do a show. And generally speaking, I was doing like, you know, 3 to 4 shows at a time.
Right.
And you learn by doing. And I got to do so much.
Gotcha.
And because of that, I was able to grow so much and so quickly. Whereas there's a lot of places that they won't even let you do a show until your junior year.
What?
You know, like, or you can't do outside theater productions. You
Well, that's
only have to
crazy.
do, it is, because it's sort of, I'll tell you, you learn more about being on. You learn more about the craft being on set
Right.
in a professional environment, because there's so much more to sort of like acting, especially in film. You've got to learn the culture
Yes, you do.
of being on set, and that is most of your job on set is like not getting in the way, knowing what your piece of the puzzle is,
Yes.
showing up, delivering on the thing that you need to do, and then getting out of everyone else's way so they can do their jobs. And there's a lot around that, and if you're not exposed to it, that's a really stressful thing to navigate. When you start going into really professional environments.
Well, I must say, I can see where it came from, because with us working together on that play that we did, I saw that you took to that script just like it. You worked it in, you had it moving, you know the moves, you know everything about it. I said, man, look at this guy, he's working it. You did a great job.
Script analysis, man. I'll tell you, it is like one of those classes that nobody wants to take, like myself included.
Got you.
But your ability to break down and understand a script
Yes.
is 90% of what your job is as a professional actor, because you are getting paid to make choices,
Right.
and you're getting paid to be specific about those choices. And when you're out in the world auditioning or doing a show, no one's there to help you.
Oh, no.
You don't have a professor that's like, oh, did you notice these things? Like, no.
Cutthroat in this town.
Exactly. So
Right.
like you have to show up and you have to be prepared.
Yes.
And I had a friend, one time who told me, he's like, I don't like to do that stuff. He's like, I like to kind of just show up and like do my thing. And I'm like, I like to show up and do my thing too.
Yeah.
But I will tell you,
Yes.
the choices that I make are influenced and fueled by the material and the work. And I'm making bolder specific choices because I've put the work in ahead of time.
Right.
And there is this thing, there's a lot of people that show up in Los Angeles that go, oh, I took an acting class here, or, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, to me, it's the same thing as like somebody being like, you know what, I want to be an open heart surgeon. Just show me the body, I get it. There's lungs and there's a heart in there, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's a whole lot more to it than that.
Yes.
And you're always training.
Yeah.
I've taken like 15 different workshops this year. And
I hope some of y'all listening to this who want to be actors, because this is the right way to do it. We always say, I'm an educator myself.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talk about is your attitude. Your attitude will determine your altitude. My friend, you got a good attitude.
Thank you.
Very good attitude. That's the professional way to do it.
Yeah, well, if you walk, I'm not saying that I don't know a good amount about this business and this craft, but if you walk into every room and every workshop being like, I already know this.
Bad attitude.
You're not going to get anything new from it. And the thing is that it's not that it's new information.
Right.
I can't tell you that I've walked into these workshops and somebody has given me something that I didn't know already, but I will tell you, when somebody presents information to you and they've rephrased it slightly, it adds a new depth to the idea.
Yes,
and
yes.
that's what you're looking
That's
for.
what I'm for, right?
And you're sort of like adding to the colors of like that you paint with,
Nice way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, because that's what it's like in this town. You have to go in there, and for those auditions with an attitude. I hear so many people say, "I hate attitude. I hate auditions. I hate them." Yeah, but you can learn something from them.
Sure.
My mother always told me years ago. She said it at that time when I was younger. I didn't understand it then. I understand it now. She said, "Son, don't let a day go by that you don't either relearn something old or learn something new."
Yeah.
I remember that very well. Okay, so let's take a look at your career. In 2006, you got your first IMDb credit as an actor playing the role of a vampire in a movie called Dracula's Curse. Remember that one?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, so that same year, you played Blake in a video called Butcher House.
Yeah. That was my first my first feature film.
Gotcha.
It was my first time working in the horror genre, and like I came from a school of really studying acting and method and living and breathing the roles. And one thing that I was not prepared for was doing a torturous death scene because I was about to go on, and I'm like, I'm treating this as it's a very real thing for me. And you know, like the director's like, okay, so you're gonna be lying on a table, and the guy's gonna be pulling your intestines out, and blah blah blah. And so I'm starting to like approach that with my like actor brain. I'm like, okay, like what is that like to have my bowels taken out, and like and as you start going into that, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. That primal protective fear starts coming up. And yeah, I did it, and it was a blast. And that's also the weird thing about this job is like, you're putting yourself into situations where you go, no human being wants to be disemboweled. That's a general thing we want to avoid.
Right.
But actors are like, okay,
yes,
I'm going to go in, I'm going to play pretend. I'm going to make that thing as real for me as possible so I can like emotionally traumatize myself.
Yes.
And then at the end of it, you go, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And it was fun. There's something that's like, there's something really, you know, for me, it's I'm driven and fueled by like adventure and freedom and experiences and like, man, what an experience to have your intestines taken out.
Because some death scenes, I've watched some people just die. Others, they do all these changes. I go, you know, is there a true death scene?
Yeah, well, there's a difference. Well, that's the thing, is like, that's the horror genre.
Right.
There's a difference between being shot and you slump over.
Right.
There's another difference between being tortured for an extended period of time.
Yes.
Because, you know, what you might see in the movie is, you know, it might end up being like 10 seconds. But on set, you're doing that take from multiple angles. You're doing that for a half an hour. You know what I mean? You know, it's like crying on cue. It's like you bring yourself to that emotional place, and you're having this emotional breakdown, and they go, all right, cut, stop. Okay, we're just going to have you start from the top, and we're going to get this new angle on it. You're like, okay, it's a very clinical thing, and you just got to get yourself reset and back to that place, and then you have a mental breakdown again, and it's a blast.
Plus do your lines, plus know where you're standing at, what can't.
Plus an incredible amount. Like, that's the thing about film is so much of your job is hitting all these marks. I mean, man, continuity. If you're doing a take in the wide and you take your glasses off on this line, you have to take your glasses off on that line for every other thing. And if you don't, you kind of messing things up. But as somebody that really loves to like listen and work organically, I don't want to be thinking about my glasses.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to be in the moment. It didn't feel right to take my glasses off on the line that time. And they're like, I don't care. That's not what your job is. Your job is to be organic and at the same time be consistent.
Gotcha.
And that mix is tough.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, Peter, here you are in Hollywood, and you're getting some actor work. So how did it feel? You're working.
I mean, it feels phenomenal while you're on set, and it feels horrific every day that you're not.
Okay.
I mean, that is, man, that high from being on set, it's hard to not feel like you're failing or that you're broken in this industry, because the sort of like Pavlov's dog emotional experience is like disconnected. So like, let's say, you know, you write this really great movie and you pitch it to somebody and they pick it up and they think it's great, but then it sits on a shelf for 10 years. And then 10 years later, someone goes and makes it and everyone goes, wow, that was a great movie. And you're like, I told you that 10 years ago. But in your experience, what you've done is you write this really great piece of art and then it just dies.
Yes.
And that's sort of like a similar thing that happens on set. You're on set and you're doing this dance and it feels so great. And then the very next day, it's just over.
Right.
And, you know, the audience didn't feel it and it's just gone.
Right.
And then like a year and a half later, you get to watch it and you go, oh,
yes,
we did something.
Right.
So like I had a really wonderful year. You know, I shot 2 features this year with 2 really fantastic roles that I just was absolutely thrilled to play, and they happened so quickly, and then they were done.
Yeah.
But and the majority of the year, I wasn't. The majority of the year, you're hustling and doing other work and being isolated a lot, and it doesn't feel like these epic moments. You have them in like little spurts.
Because you got to eat, you got to live. It
Yeah.
costs a lot in this town to live here.
It does. It does. I mean, I've been fortunate in the fact that like I make my money playing and doing art, and that's something that I've been a workaholic for so long, and I've been focused and driven, and I've never taken a vacation. I don't travel unless it's for work, and I have really learned. I've learned that lesson very slowly over a long period of time, but in the past few weeks, I've really had to shift my mindset of just remembering that people don't pay me to work; they pay me to play.
Okay.
And I have to let go of that drilling myself to death, working my butt off all the time, and I have to shift my gears into focusing on finding my flow and enjoying everything that I'm doing while I'm doing it.
Gotcha.
Like I've always been present and sort of like grateful in those spaces when moments are happening, but it is absolutely vital to your career that you enjoy the ride, because this ride never changes.
Right, never changes.
There are no, A-list actors feel just as broken by the industry because you're always comparing it to your expectations of like what you thought it would be or where you thought it would go or, how you think things would look. And
But when a bunch of actors get together, I watch you all the time. You're like a species to me, a special species.
Great.
You get out there, you talk about, what are you working at? What you doing? They'd be talking back and forth, trading secrets, but not so much, but they'd still be talking. I enjoy that.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, man, nothing feels better for me than being on set with a bunch of comedians.
Oh.
Just sitting around and riffing, and that is the highest high.
Gotcha.
And actors are always talking about what they're doing. I'm very much trying hard to be like, not do that self-promotion, but when you meet another person in the industry, that's the first question. What are you working on?
Right.
And the reason why you ask that is because that's what our fuel is.
Right.
It's not who are you and how are you or where'd you go on vacation. No one cares.
Nobody cares about that.
It's what are you doing right now? And
yes.
I want to talk about the things that I'm doing because that's what inspires me. Like that's where my fuel is. And I write a lot, and writing can be such a sort of like an isolating experience because you're working and you're crafting this thing and you're doing this dance and it's super fun, and then you finish it and you realize that you're just in a room by yourself, but you want to like get up and like high five the room. Like I'm at coffee shops and I want to go and then nobody knows what I'm doing over here.
Yeah. Got a lot of energy, my friend. A lot of energy. A lot of good energy. Let's fast forward to 2008, and there you are on a TV series, Get a Clue. I understand you had 10 episodes?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a short look clip of what we got on Get a Clue.
To a funeral after work?
What? No, Lindy, I always dress like this. You're one to talk.
Everybody at the orphanage dressed like this.
Yeah. Why'd you grow up in an orphanage?
Because my parents are dead. Remember?
Yeah. Sorry. I just assumed.
You assumed what?
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Now, in 2009, The Devil's Matchmaker, you did that one.
Yeah.
We got another clip. Might want to take a look at that one before we
Sure.
talk about it. Sure. Okay.
Everyone at school made fun of me because of my last name, Wiener Cox. For For some reason, my parents thought it was a brilliant idea to pass along both of their terrible last names to me. Now I work as a freelance matchmaker.
I mean, most girls think I'm a total nerd for having every episode of Star Trek on DVD.
Star Trek? Star Trek sucks.
I am going to have the filet mignon, medium rare.
How can you eat meat?
Well, if God didn't intend us to eat animals, why did he make them so delicious?
You know, I keep telling my mom just to be patient. You know, I'll find the guy, get married, have babies.
I don't always.
What'd you think about that movie?
You know, I haven't seen it since it was made.
Oh,
like, that's
okay.
another weird thing about this job is, you know, and this is what I love, is like, you do so many different things all the time. I've started keeping a list of the projects that I work on because I forget. And, you know, sometimes it's just like you show up and you have this single day experience, and then all of a sudden, you know, somebody sends you a thing. It's like, hey, we're going to be at the short film festival, and you're like, oh yeah, I shot that movie. That's cool. You know, it ends up being this like really wonderful surprise.
Yes.
You know, it's like last year, I started keeping a list of the things that I do because I've noticed that I'll have these emotional moments where I'm like, man, I'm just not doing anything. I'm so lazy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh no, you did 46 projects this year. You're fine. Yeah. You're fine.
Better than other people.
That's the thing, is like you have those moments because immediately once you get offset, you go into that, I mean, I try not to, but you go into that slump. And like, that's why so many actors you're always looking for the next fix. You're looking for the next thing.
But Peter, you're not an A-lister, not yet.
No.
What motivates you to get from where you're at to an A-lister?
I just want to work more and on a bigger scale.
Okay.
You know, I have no desire to be famous. My only feelings about it would just be like, it would get me more work. I just want to work. I just want to be on more sets, playing in bigger leagues and bigger ponds, and working on really great material.
Okay.
You know, there's times where you run into stuff. It's a weird mix. Like the best advice that somebody ever gave me was, you either do something because you love it, or you do something because it pays you very well.
Right.
And you don't do it if it doesn't fit one of those things. So it's like, if there's a lot of people that just say yes to whatever comes by. So it's like, if something you don't love and it's not paying you, don't do it. So, you know, I've had to be on projects where it's like, it's a really good opportunity, it's paying me really well, but man, I could really care less about this thing. I hate commercials.
Right.
I hate commercial auditions. But I have had the opportunity, especially like that play that we did this weekend, where you get this script shows up and you're like, oh, I love this. Right. Yes. Right. I want to jump into that. And I want to be at the A-list level just so that I can be a part of bigger projects that are doing bigger things and having bigger impact.
Gotcha. Tom, keep your eye on this guy. He does his own stunts, and he's good looking too.
Thanks. Thank you.
But it's maturity for actors. I mean, you look at the roles that are out there. I see a lot of people that when the script calls for a young man versus an older man, and sometimes as actors get older, roles get a little bit harder to get, sometimes.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I think younger me and what I've seen in a lot of younger actors, you spend all this time, you know, being like, I can play anything. Like, that's the whole thing. And that's true. It's like, I have a very varied, I have a variety of work and different roles that I've played because I've loved sort of getting lost in these different experiences. And as you get older, things, you realize that being more focused about your work actually yields you much better results. But I have found, you know, there are roles that I stumble upon in auditions that I go, I could do this. I'm right for it, and I use all these sort of like quotes, but it doesn't resonate with me. And then there are certain roles where you pick up the script and you go, man, there's something about this that is vibing with me, and I don't even think I'm right for it, but like, it sings. Right. You know, this year, the two big roles that I had were really neurotic, sort of like sheepish characters, and that had never been my calling card. I had always been the sort of like charming jerk, and like I've been the villain and all that stuff. And then here it is, this sort of like overly anxious character that is in this like completely other world that is very foreign to me, and that resonated. And I was able to like really live in it, and you know, I got to see a rough cut of one of them, and the editor talked to me, and he's like, "Man, I love watching your work in this, and you had all these things," and I was like, "I didn't see any of that," and that's not at all what it was like for me.
What kind of roles do you look for?
I don't know anymore.
Okay.
Because that's the thing, is like these two roles I would never have picked for myself.
Yes.
And then the one that we just did in the play reading this weekend, that's another role that I never would have picked.
Right.
But there is something about how the dialogue flowed and how there was, you just don't question it. You're like, there's a little bit of magic in there. There's something in this character that is resonating with me and that I can bring to life and in my unique way. That's the whole thing. It's like your job as an actor is to bring whatever your unique voice is to the role. Right. And you know, it's like trying to paint this painting. It's like you can try to walk in like, I'm going to make this beautiful thing, and you can if you try to craft it too much, it feels crafted. It feels intellectual. Where really you have to, this is really great advice I got from Karen Austin, who had this workshop I went to. It's about being seen and allowing yourself to be seen. And there's something that in these roles that I have found recently that I was like, man, there's something in here that I want to be, that has not been seen in me.
Right.
And I need to sort of like explore what that is. And I find that's where the best work comes from. Is when you're letting audience sort of like view inside your own personal process, because they're watching a human being experience something versus an actor crafting an experience for you.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. 2009, you did Thanks for Dying. 2012, you did Peeking Out the Window. Nice title. While all this was going on, you started to get a strong background in improv.
Yeah.
Please explain.
Well, I will tell you, improv is actually the very first thing that got me into acting. I've been doing improv since I was 16 years old.
Okay.
So about 19 years now.
Wow.
And it's a muscle that I've like worked so much that I feel more comfortable being in front of an audience, having no idea what I'm going to say, rather than like walking up there with a script of what I'm supposed to prepare and do. Improv is my home base. And, you know, when you've done it for so long, you reach this point where time moves differently. And you just get up there and you're just doing this dance. Like, that's the thing I love about improv, is that I don't know where this is going to go. It's like having a good conversation with somebody. I'm just going to listen to you and I'm going to respond and I'm going to trust. And like, that's the big thing that you grow with in improv as an actor, is you learn how to just trust this process. You're not trying to be funny. You're just like, it's you and me up there. We're going to do this dance. And it's so fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, because you, in 2016, you were awarded Male Performer of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad.
That was a crazy journey. There were about 1,000 different actors.
Right.
All different age ranges. I had been doing a lot of like acting coaching for these sort of like agent manager workshops. And, you know, I will tell you, I've been teaching since I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And you learn something by teaching.
Yes.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Because whenever you have to try to explain a complex idea, you force yourself to get more clear about that idea yourself.
Gotcha.
And then when you get more clear about that idea yourself,
Okay.
you know, you are able to add so much more depth. So me doing that showcase had come at the tail end of me teaching a crash course acting method that I had sort of been creating that year. And so it was like, all right, you know what, Peter, it's time to like actually put that into practice.
Got you.
But the really crazy thing about this industry, which is what is so heartbreaking, but also beautiful in a lot of ways, I was going there to get an agent.
Okay.
And there were 30 agents and managers from like Abrams and CAA and all, you know, all the
big
best,
boys,
all
yes.
the best people.
Yes.
And I went up and I did this piece that I knew I could do and that I would, you know, it was a great mix of comedy and heart. Like that's sort of like my wheelhouse. And, you know, I got to, because I was working for them, I got to sort of see the scores and I got, boom, 10 out of 10s across the board.
Great.
And, you know, and I got this award and I got this trophy. But do you know how many agent callbacks I got?
How many? None? One?
One.
That's interesting.
It is. That happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
There are times where you as an actor can go and you can hit the biggest Grand Slam home run.
Right.
And you can still lose. And there's a lot of lessons in there. You know, I had always sort of like, even growing up, gotten a lot of respect and acclaim and stuff for my work, but my career never moved forward.
Got you.
Everybody was giving me high fives, but nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And that continues to this day. It's like I walk into places, I get really big high fives, props, really respect your work, and everything just sort of dies.
Yeah.
And
they're not jealous of you.
Well, no, because there are so many other factors that go into things. So it's like I'd earned a lot of respect from the managers that were there. I had managers that sent me emails being like, hey, listen, I really love your work, but I've got somebody like you on my roster, and I really love your work, but your credits are kind of like this. And, you know, there are other factors. And I've experienced it casting-wise where there's this music video one time I was casting, and these amazing performers came in. And there's this one performer who was like, oh, my God, my heart just dropped out of my chest. She was so good. She didn't get the role.
Wow.
And she didn't get the role because the person that I chose for the role had this exact right mix of all the things that I needed.
Gotcha.
And that's something that's really important for a lot of actors to know. It's like,
yes,
you go in, you do your job, you hit those home runs the best that you can. And if you don't get it, you can't take it as a personal thing, and you can't take it as a failure, even though it feels like that, because there are just too many other factors.
Thank you.
And it's a hard lesson to learn over and over again, but you have to learn it.
Learn it. Got to take a break here. We'll return. We got to talk a little bit more with you. And this is The Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. The studio of Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art is proud to offer you a $100 discount off any photo package valued at $300 or more. Now, Harvey's been in the business for nearly a quarter of a century, and he certainly knows how to take care of his customers. So please give him a call today at 818-954-9294. That's 818-954-9294. You'll be glad you did. And by the way, please tell Harvey that you heard about his offer right here on The Actor's Choice. 5150, the book, is the latest release from author and attorney Ron Irwin. As a young Marine, Irwin spent 13 months in Chu Lai, Republic of Vietnam. His experience, where nearly 3 million Americans went to war, was, as he puts it, 5150. The book is currently available in paperback at lulu.com. That's lulu.com, and Irwin says he'll give 20% of net book sales split evenly between the veterans of foreign wars and Vietnam veterans of America. Back to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. It's a new book by author Larry Buford. It's a historical and faith-based account of how what we do and follow today will affect us tomorrow. The author also calls it an adventure for those who want to travel back through time. The book is now available in paperback for only $17.95 from Amazon. Get a copy today. And now a word from State Farm agent Carla Green. Roll that video.
Let me ask you something. What do you see when you look at your home and your car? Do you see a bundle? A combo deal? That's how other insurance companies see them. But a State Farm agent sees so much more. Because the State Farm agent sees your home and your car as more than just four walls and four wheels. They see the things you've worked really hard for. So why not give them the protection they deserve? Let me help you with that. Give me a call. State Farm agent Carla Green, 213-239-9675. I look forward to speaking with you.
Thanks, Carla. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. For more information, call 213-239-9675. That's 213-239-9675. The 2018 Leimert Park Festival of Stage Readings comes to an end tomorrow, September 3rd. September 3rd, The fifth annual event will feature the meeting at 3 p.m. at the Barbara Morrison Performance Arts Center, 4305 Degnan Boulevard in Los Angeles at 90008. And at 7 p.m., Big Mama, starring Barbara Morrison, will close the festival at her Performing Arts Center. Again, 4305 Degnan Boulevard, 90008. Tickets are $15 each. For more information, just look up their number. I believe it's 213-933-3705. Okay? And finally, if you have a product, a service, or an upcoming event that you'd like to see advertised on this program, please call us at 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. And I can tell you our prices are very affordable. Thank you. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Our guest today is actor, writer, producer, stuntman. I love saying all those things. Peter Berube. Peter.
Yeah.
I must be tired from working last night.
That's fine.
Stepped on too bad. Okay. Peter, we got to roll. We got some video on the show. Roll that, please.
Let's get away. Let's get away. Hey! Stop! I said stop! Don't you move. Turn around! I said turn around!
I swear to fucking God. Just let me go.
I'm not gonna let you go. You still don't understand.
Just turn me in.
No.
Come on, man. Isn't that, justice? Huh? Isn't that what the people want?
No. Because see, you still don't understand, do you? See, look at you right now. You are tied to a chair in a basement. I'm about to kill you. And you still think you can posture at me? Guess what, Jake? I've got some news for you, my friend. This is real.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to see you in front of that camera. But we've been watching you in front of the camera. But what is it like for you behind the camera?
Well, you know, I know it's a big thing right now that you have to sort of like be creating your own work as an actor, so sort of like get yourself out there. But I've always been a writer. You know, I've also I got my BFA degree. I have a BFA in acting and in directing.
Okay.
There is something really wonderful about the creation process, and I do it all the time. This year, I've spent most of the year writing. I wrote 2 TV pilots. I just wrote a short film last month. I wrote for 2 series, 1 animated series and another like radio drama that's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, I love telling stories. And, you know, what's interesting is I've spent a lot of time sort of like telling other people's stories.
Gotcha.
There's something about like my own story that I was like never really, who cares? You know, like I want to craft these experiences that are about experiences that about people that I don't really know or understand, and I want to sort of like put myself in those shoes and like, again, kind of like from an actor, like play around and see what's going on there. But this past month, I wrote this movie, this short that I'm about to go shoot next week.
Got you.
And this is the first piece that I wrote about my own experience, sort of like through a a fictitious sort of experience, but like about my own experience with life and expectations and failure. And that was a hard piece to write, but was so important, and it was something that I feel like I needed to process, and I process it through an art form. And one of my friends who has become like a brother to me, we played brothers in the movie earlier this year, and that relationship has turned into an actual brother relationship, and he and I have been sort of processing these same things, and we're like, hey man, like let's go to the sequoia forest, let's go to the redwood trees, and we're going to shoot this movie about this thing that like we have been grappling with, as a means of letting it go. And I wrote this character that is very much me, that is very much my perspective and my struggles. And then I wrote another character that just eviscerates that character. And the character that looks like me looks like an idiot. Like, and to write something where you are sort of like destroying your own personal beliefs and the things that you have held on to for so long is a, it's a cathartic and very sort of therapeutic process, but it has allowed me to see the working myself to death and the expectations, the high bars that I have set for myself have been the very things that have been holding my life back.
Yes.
And so we're going to shoot this movie for the joy of just filming, but also as a like.
Got a name for it?
We got it's called Shortcut.
Shortcut. Okay.
Yeah.
When do you expect it out?
Well, I work pretty quickly, so it'll probably be done by the end of the month.
Good.
I'm not going to release it online. I think this is going to be one of the first things that I sort of, not that I'm afraid to show audiences yet. I actually am sort of like doing the opposite. I really want to show audiences it, so I'm going to screen it for friends. I'm not going to post it anywhere, and then I'm going to put it out in festivals and let just an audience that doesn't know me experience the piece.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that is making me so excited about going and doing it.
Good.
It is this really unknown and adventure. And as a person that has thrown myself into so many different things, there aren't a lot of unknown adventures, and you kind of have to keep exploring and seeing where those are, and pushing yourself to do things that you've never done.
Yes.
And this is something I've never done, and it's a project that I've never done, and I'm treating it in a way that I've never treated a piece before. So I'm excited to have that new experience.
I'm glad you said that. Peter, unfortunately, we ran out of time.
No.
Man. We ran out of time. Time just goes by when you're having fun.
Yeah, it is. This is fun.
Yes, indeed. We'd like you to come back again. And,
Great.
Because I got a whole bunch of questions for you that we haven't asked from you
Sure.
yet. But I want to thank you for stopping by today.
Yeah,
and,
thank you, Ron.
Yes,
This
definitely.
is an absolute
Glad I ran
pleasure.
it. It's amazing that I ran into you, and I thank the Lord up there for letting us run into each other. Also, speaking of the Lord, I just want to take a moment to dedicate this show to a very, very dear friend of mine, Johnny Morris. He passed over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
He has been renowned and well-known in this industry for many, many years, both as a performer, as an engineer. We worked at many different stations together. He and his daughter, Poetess, they have done a great service to the business that we know. And he had prostate cancer, and he's been fighting it for many years, and finally came and got him on Saturday morning. And Johnny, we're going to miss you, and God bless you, sir. Love you dearly, and rest in peace. Rest in peace. Also, special thanks to our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's 5150 The Book, Larry Buford's Book to the Future, Time and Travel, Message in a Capsule, and State Farm agent Carla Green. Again, Peter, we thank you very much for stopping on by. Good luck to you in the future and what you're doing.
Thank
and to our ever-growing audience, we thank you, and we want to say we will see you the next time. Take care.